Hello, Bl'Artagnan here with Gentle Giant, Guy Lufenia Plus. You're probably expecting the Reigns event, but I am behind and haven't gotten around to doing that one yet. Instead, I wanted to share this run I was able to pull off last night as the event dropped, in which I was able to get Exdeath through it. I was kind of discouraged for a while because I was having trouble getting a main party Exdeath clear of this stage. So, I was pretty excited when I was able to pull this off. That Y'shtola Burst Plus ended up paying off dividends, as you'll see. Before we get into this, be sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Both are overplayed comments and requests to make, but they do really help support the channel, help it grow. Just shy of 400 subscribers at this point. We're still steadily making our way toward 500, which is pretty exciting. So, what do we got going on here? Well, most of this is going to be a zero boss turn situation, but we're going to slow roll them early on because we want to conserve for when they are in killer mode. Once they go red, that's some scary stuff. The reason I was struggling getting Exdeath through in the main party was I was trying to do his, off-turn damage kind of enemy phase style play style, the attack down and all that, and it wasn't working because, man, that Tremor Plus is a killer move. Stacking attack down wasn't doing it, and so we're going to use a bit of a hybrid approach here. We're going to basically kind of sneak past the first 80% or the first 20% using that Bronth Call that we dropped to keep the orb up, and just generally kind of plugging away at them, because once we go below 80, the turn count isn't going to be an issue, and they're not going to get to act again. So you can see here the reductions are already kind of kicking in and really hampering our ability to power through them, but it's okay. We got some Exdeath. We got true damage from Exdeath. We got Tidus with his follow-up. We have Y'shtola battery. We're gonna be okay. I've been spamming slash plus with I've been spamming slash plus. Words are hard with Tidus because we're gonna be going real hard on the quick hit instant turn shenanigans once we get below 80. So I figure we might as well use as much of his non-instant stuff as we can. The thing to watch out for during this phase was that at 80, before we hit 80, B did, what's it called, Devour or something like that. Basically, they do an instant break attack and gain a bunch of Brave, and so I wanted to time that so that Exdeath was going to be able to shave that before it killed someone. We've definitely run out of debuffs though. We weren't able to get Exdeath's EX debuff on them, which is not a huge issue in this case. Would have saved my initial run of this that I tried getting to work, because they ended up taking one turn at the very end, but that ended up not being an issue here, as you'll see. We're just trying to set up some an optimal situation for once we're ready to really cut loose. While I was doing this, I was thinking, man, I probably should post the Reigns event video first, but I have to get around to doing that, and it's been a wild few days. But anywho, what are we dealing with here? Well, we're going to go ahead and continue with that slash combo, because we want to get them both under 80% before we start going into our kind of killer mode. There's a reason for that. Although I'm not 100% sure why that reason is, which feels like kind of weird thing to say, but hopefully it'll make sense. We're going to bring in the Iroha Call first of all, because Tidus is going to be dropping a whole bunch of, multiple Brave Dump situations with his follow-up, so we want to take advantage of Iroha's non-reduced refund, or cashback, whatever we call it. I forget what we're calling it these days. Anyway, the reason I wanted them both under 80 was I was noticing for some reason when I would burst with Exdeath before 80%, the reductions would kill his gains, and he would do no damage, even with the Y'shtola's burst effect in play. Luckily, for some reason, once they're below 80, that stopped happening, and we started killing them real hard. I don't understand what that was. I'm assuming it was something to do with the Brave conditional or something, but whatever it was, I found in practice bringing the Exdeath burst out after 80% had much better results. Especially with that Iroha Call. I love this so much. Oh, God. So yeah, Sorry for posting an old event run at this point with the Reigns thing here, but this was for me. This was some Blart time was what this was. You'll see we did over 2 million damage with that burst, and in a fight like this, that's some pretty exciting stuff to be able to brag about. So Tidus now is going to go completely insane. You'll see I'm actually going to be spamming his AA. You'll notice I put the AA where I normally put the HP attack, because we're going to be using that AA a whole lot. Reason being, we're relying more on Exdeath's burst effect than Tidus's damage in order to on his turns, although the damage is not bad. And so my thinking here was I want to basically spam quick hit as much as I can, and that means not using his EX. And in order to not use his EX, we'll spam buff slash plus, or whatever it's called, buff extend, his AA. I have to keep trying to use the names here. And so that's why you'll see basically every time I have a free skill from his LD, it goes right into his AAs to extend his winning spirit buff as much as possible to keep those instant turn quick hits rolling. Probably not the optimal way to play Tidus, but it worked pretty darn well with this team setup. Something else you'll notice is, we dropped Y'shtola Burst as soon as we got to 80, but that meant we have 10 turns of Y'shtola Burst effect right now that we can take advantage of. What's up with that? The main reason was that I'll be getting pretty spammy with Y'shtola during the last bit of the fight once Tidus has run out of skills. And I wanted that burst effect on hand in case, if Exdeath has to take a turn, he can just whomp them and, take 2 more damage. So that's why we were pretty conservative with when we popped the Y'shtola Burst attack. We're kind of trying to shave down A there very, very slowly, 1 turn at a time, just so that we can get a rebreak with Jack Shot, ideally, at some point before they gain a bunch of Brave again. So we're getting there. Let's see here. Here's the Jack Shot. That pushes A back. Not that we're really worried at this point. Oh yeah, and something I forgot to mention. You'll notice no friend unit. So I was pretty excited about that. Originally I cleared this with a friend unit in reserve and realized they were completely unnecessary. We got to the end without it. I have mixed feelings about Exdeath here because, yes, he's a viable and contributing main party member in this fight, but he was mostly there for the burst effect. Let's be real here. The friend unit would have been just as good. I don't really enjoy that he's basically a walking burst effect at this point. The fights have really not been conducive for, letting the enemies take turns. This red attack is very lethal if you don't have someone like a Setzer or a Warrior of Light. And even then, the breaking is just a huge pain. So really, the defensive units right now are on a bit of a downturn, which is, the game comes in phases. I'm sad that it happened right after Exdeath's birth cycle. We knew this would happen, though, so it is what it is. So at this point, you can see Tidus is completely spent. He has 2 skill 2s, and that's the last thing he has to offer us. That's okay. He's done his job here. He chunked them for quite a bit of damage over the course of his past few free turns. We're going to go ahead and... what are we going to do? It's not getting any high turn rate. We want to ideally keep Exdeath from going since he has 1 last turn of Aerith's Call, boosting that poison damage. So we've got 86,000 on each enemy right now because of the combination of the AA from Exdeath and the Aerith Call. Yeah. I need some water or something. Ugh. Remember to hydrate. Hydration is important. Drinking this iced coffee that I was chugging right before this video, not the way to do it. Anywho, you'll see here, as I mentioned, we are now spamming with Y'shtola. She has a ton of free turns with her AAs and her LDs and her EX and all that jazz. And I want her burst effect for this part because the reductions are at their highest, and I am still relying on her to do damage. So, here we go. 2 turns left of the burst. 1 last of Flatus Misery. 1 turn left on the burst, which is pretty cool because this means we get to end things with style. And by that I mean Aerith. I'm just kidding. She's not the one to get the killing blow here. Here we go. I love Exdeath so much. Anyway, there we go. Exdeath through Guy Lost Chapter, onto the Reigns fight. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching through the end, and I will see you in the next one. Adios.